A major new update, number 13 already, will come out for Hell Let Loose coming Tuesday. It's called the Burning Snow update. Let's take a look at the 9 things that will be included so you'll have a good idea of what to expect. New updates are always a joy, as up until now they have significantly changed the gameplay and meta and added new content. This is also the case for this new update, as it will include new weapons, a new map, new vehicles and more. The downside is that they normally include some bugs too, but the devs do follow up with hotfixes quite soon after, in case that happens. The devs have also mentioned that this will be the last major update for 2022. And for you console players out there, this is also an important one, as it will make the game mostly on par with the PC version. This means that future console updates can launch together with the PC version, or at least with little time in between them, like before. If we can believe the devs, that is. Anyway, let's get into the first new additions to the game, which are the flamethrowers and molotovs. And not only that, they will also introduce fire dynamics to the game, as they are currently absent. This means that not only enemy players but also the ground around them can be set on fire. Sounds great, because it can also be used for area denial, as the burning surroundings will damage players. This will open up some new options in the meta. The fire weapons, especially in combination with the quick time to kill in Hell Let Loose, seems to have a potency to be very strong. Even more ways to rack up your death count in the personal stats. That's why it's good to know that the devs include systems to balance stuff out. For example, the flamethrower can only be used in a brace fire stance. The ammo is also quite limited, as the weapon will have about 20 seconds of sustained fire before it has to be replenished. This means that teamwork with your ammo carrying squad mates will be important, if they only had a mic. Or will the dropped ammo crates become more viable? Who knows? There will actually be a new form of ammo replenishing introduced with the new update, but more about this later. It will require quite a grind to get access to the flamethrower, as it will be locked behind a support level 10 loadout. That's great for all the level 10 squad leaders that don't play anything else out of necessity. Anyway, I'm excited for the new fire weapons, as it will spice up the gameplay and include some cool new moments during a match. What do you guys think? As mentioned, a new map will be included in the new update as well. It's called Kharkov. It's located in a city that's been in the news a lot over the last year for sad reasons, which is the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. Back in the time that the map takes place in, it was still part of the Soviet Union, hence the difference in name. During World War II, this city and surrounding area had seen 4 large-scale battles over a period of 3 years, as Germany and the Soviet Union captured it from each other multiple times. Judging from the screenshots and the gameplay I watched, it seems to be similar to Foy. The devs mentioned that they wanted to create an open map like Kursk, that's good for armor and with hills and industrial areas. Just hearing open map and hills in one sentence will probably send shivers down your spine as an infantry player, but I'm quite curious as to how it plays. There's actually a Hell Let Loose map designer called Gritson who explains some more about the design process on the Hell Let Loose subreddit. According to him, the goal was to make an Eastern Front equivalent of the popular St. Mary Glee's Western Front map. This means there's a focus on armor gameplay, but the map will also include some covered areas suitable to infantry, with more urban areas, trenches and areas with more vegetation. The central objective will be a church that can be seen from all over the map. Anyway, the screenshots look promising and I can't wait to play it. What do you guys think? So before we continue, I'd like to remind you of perhaps subscribing and liking the video. This will help the YouTube algorithm as well as you to keep up to date with new Hell Let Loose videos. Well, if you don't like that, by all means don't subscribe. Anyway, the next thing that will be added with the update are jeeps. This is an interesting one, as many people consider Hell Let Loose a walking simulator. Over the months, more vehicle options have been added with the supply and transport trucks and also the half-tracks. However, just grabbing a supply track or half-track to move from point A to point B is quite a expensive and wasteful endeavor. I expect that the jeeps will make setting up nasty flanks a lot easier. Also, the commander could benefit from the extra mobility. This makes me very curious to see what kind of impact this will have on the game's meta. All factions will receive their own Jeep-style vehicle, with the Willys Jeep for the US, the Kübelwagen for the Germans and the Gas 67 for the Soviet Union. An interesting little mechanic is that the Jeeps will be able to drop ammo boxes. They will work similarly to the commander's ammo crate ability, but allow for only 6 refills. The Jeep will be able to bring 2 of these ammo boxes before needing to replenish their ammo at HQ. I wonder how useful it will be though, but with the introduction of the flamethrowers, ammo replenishing becomes a bit more important. Another new addition to the game is the T-70 light tank for the Soviet Union. These screenshots look awesome. I heard from reliable sources, which are screaming people on Reddit and in comment chat, that people tend to prefer heavy or medium tanks as light tanks are too weak. But to be honest, I'm not too sure as I really hate armor gameplay. I'm sorry. My idea of fun is getting one shot as an infantry soldier from across a field, or getting a randomly arty stride. To each his own. The new T-70 tank was historically used a lot during the Battle of Kursk. It had about 8,000 of them produced and was used a lot in scouting roles. The crew consisted of 2 people, which were the driver and a commander that also loaded and fired the turret. A few variants of the tank were produced, including anti-aircraft variants. A small new quality of life improvement included in the update are loadout presets. This means that you will be able to set up cosmetic presets for your classes so you don't have to do it manually. Hopefully people will use it so the character models will look a bit more varied. There's actually a reason this is useful because of the next new addition to the game, which are winter uniforms. As more snow maps are added to the game, the devs decided it's time for players to not stick out like a sore thumb anymore. Winter uniforms will be available for all players to select, so it's not some kind of DLC, and we can finally hide in Foy and in the new Kharkov map. This looks pretty neat and it will add more immersion to the game. I mean, the authenticity of Hell Let Loose is one of the things that sets it apart from other World War II shooters, so these little details make it what it is. Talking about details, there's another new addition that could improve the game's immersion. The devs are actually overhauling the animations with a rework of the bone system. This should optimize the character animations as some of them are still a bit underwhelming. Better animations should make the game look smoother and more realistic, so it's really something I'm looking forward to. It seems that this will be an ongoing process as the animation optimization in this update is the first iteration of said process. Sometimes the community is bitching that the devs are focusing too much on more content rather than improving the existing game, and this shows that the devs do prioritize the existing game mechanics as well. The goal of the improvements of the animations is not only to make them look better, but also improve FPS. Since inception, Hell Let Loose was plagued by bad performance, and I do have to admit the devs managed to improve this a lot, but still the devs mentioned that continued optimization across the board is an important goal for them. I couldn't help but notice that a strange weapon is being added for the Soviet faction. At the moment, the Soviets have an underwhelming anti-tank weapon, which is an anti-tank rifle rather than launcher, and the new update will include the American weapon the bazooka for the Soviet faction. During the Land-Lease Act signed by US President Roosevelt, many allied countries including Britain, China and also the Soviet Union received aid in the form of weapons and vehicles from the US, and I assume it's based on this historical fact. Or it might be a band-aid fix to balance the gameplay, I'm not too sure. And the final new addition to Hell Let Loose is a new helmet pack. It looks pretty cool, but it is DLC, so if that is your cup of tea, as the Brits say, go buy it and go wear your new helmet. Anyway, these will be the last additions for Hell Let Loose for this year. The first new update of next year will be more like an expansion, including the British forces. So there's plenty in store for Hell Let Loose in the future. If you want to stay up to date, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.